The phone glowed in the dark, sharp and cold, cutting through the silence of my apartment. Her post stared back at me. Why do broke men even try dating? Followed by the face with tears of joy emoji. The laughing icon landed like a punch, each pixel of bruise blooming across my chest. Just hours earlier, I'd spoken her on the phone, voice cracking as I admitted I couldn't afford the weekend getaway she'd been planning. My bank account was empty, a graveyard of overdraft fees, every last penny spent on her birthday dinner last month. I thought she understood. I thought the silence on the line meant she was processing, maybe even empathizing. But now this, my thumb hovered over the screen, trembling, torn between calling her or scrolling through the avalanche of comments. Strangers piling on, their words a chorus of mockery. The apartment pressed in heavy and still, amplifying every heartbeat. I sank onto the edge of my sagging couch, the rough fabric scraping my palms, and stared at the chipped coffee table where we'd shared takeout just a week ago. Her laughter had filled the room then, her head thrown back, dark hair cascading over her shoulders. I had thought it was love, her leaning into me, our fingers brushing as we fought over the last dumpling. But the post burned in my mind, rewriting every memory. Had she been laughing at me even then? I scrolled through our texts, hunting for clues. Her last message at 6:43 p.m. was a single heart emoji in response to my apology about the trip. No words, just that tiny red pulse. I had read it as forgiveness, maybe even affection. Now it felt like a lie, a placeholder to keep me from suspecting the truth. My chest tightened, ribs crushing slowly with each shallow breath. I wanted to call her, demand answers, but my fingers froze. What if she laughed again? What if the warmth in her voice yesterday became cold and sharp today? The night dragged on. Sleep refused me. The phone remained in my hand, a cruel companion. I kept refreshing the post, watching the likes climb, for 176,389. Each one felt like a stranger witnessing my humiliation. I imagined her tapping at the screen, nails manicured, lips curling into that half-smile she wore when she thought she was clever. I had seen that smile before, teasing me about my beat-up sneakers or my fumbling with chopsticks. I'd laughed it off then, called it playful. But now, those moments felt like warnings I'd ignored. By morning, my eyes stung. The apartment smelled of stale coffee. I hadn't moved from the couch. The post remained, now at 112 likes, with a string of cruel comments. Girl, dump him. Broke guys always think they're enough. Clown face. I wanted to believe it was impulsive, that she'd regret it when she saw my name missing from her notifications. But deep down, I knew better. She had always cared about appearances. Her Instagram curated brunches, vacations, outfits I could never afford. I thought my love and effort could balance that. Maybe I had been wrong from the start. Finally, I texted her at 9:17 a.m. Saw your post. We need to talk. My hands shook as I hit send. Words too small for the weight they carried. I stared at the screen. The 3 dots of her typing flickered, appearing and vanishing like a heartbeat. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. The silence was louder than any reply could have been. When her call finally came, the ringtone pierced the haze. I answered, voice taut. Hey, she said, light and casual. You okay? You sound weird. I gripped the phone, knuckles whitening. Your post about broke men. That's about me, isn't it? She laughed. Quick, nervous, like a glass tipping but not yet breaking. Oh, come on. It's just a joke. You're taking it way too seriously. Am I? My voice cracked, betraying the anger I'd tried to bury. I told you yesterday I couldn't afford the trip. And then you post that with a laughing emoji. Silence. The kind of pause that felt like confession. When she spoke again, her voice was softer, but not apologetic. Look, I was just venting. It's not a big deal. You know how social media is. Do I? I asked, throat tight. Because it feels like you're telling the world I'm a joke, that I'm not enough for you. That's not what I meant, she said, but defensiveness edged her words. I want things, nice things, experiences, and sometimes it's frustrating when I can't keep up. I finish her thought for her, the truth slicing clean through me. You've been thinking this for a while, haven't you? Another long pause. Shallow, uneven breaths. Finally, she admitted, I don't know, maybe. I didn't mean to hurt you. But she had. The truth in her voice was unmistakable, not cruelty, but carelessness. She hadn't thought of me at all. I was collateral in her pursuit of something shinier. The call ended with vague promises to talk later, but I knew we wouldn't. I sat there, phone dark in my hand, feeling the weight of every shared moment, late-night talks, curling together on cold mornings, whispered promises of a future together. Had any of it been real? Or had I simply been a placeholder, someone to fill the space until she found what she truly wanted? I opened her post one last time. Likes had climbed to 134. I could delete her number, block her, erase her from my life, but that post would remain a permanent digital scar. I thought about replying, exposing her cruelty in the comments, but what would it prove? Instead, I set the phone down and stood, legs unsteady. The apartment felt smaller, walls closing in, as if the space itself mourned with me. I walked to the window, morning light harsh in my tired eyes. Outside, the world moved on. Cars humming, people rushing to jobs and lives I couldn't afford. I had loved her with everything I had, but it wasn't enough. And maybe the real betrayal wasn't her post, not even her words, but the quiet realization that I betrayed myself by believing I could be enough. The ache in my chest didn't fade. It hardened, transforming into something else. Resolve, maybe, or the first flicker of acceptance. I didn't need her validation, her likes, her curated life. I needed to find my own worth, somewhere beyond the cruel glow of a screen. And as I turned away from the window, I knew that journey had already begun.